New York City. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's impressive, since if New York City was a country, its economy would be the 10th largest in the world, ahead of Canada and Russia. With a gross metropolitan product, or GMP, of $1.66 trillion and 8.4 million documented people in New York City, it's no wonder it's the city that never sleeps. Given the need for a 24/7 lifestyle on the Big Apple, you would think owning a rooster wouldn't be a big deal. As New Yorkers, we're not sleeping much anyway, right? But it is illegal to own a rooster in the city because of the crowing. The cock-a-doodle actually happens throughout the day, but as many of us know, that crowing usually begins punctually at sunrise. That being said, in this video, we'll go over everything you need to know about the animals you can have in all 5 boroughs, hens. We'll discuss the main pros and cons, and after owning these intelligent and spunky animals, you may just give up the buffalo wings and chicken nuggets. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe and like to support the channel. Let's start with the obvious pros. Owning hens in the city requires an outdoor, grassy space, also known as a yard, for them to roam. Depending on the size of the breed you decide on, one hen requires at least 3 square feet inside a coop and 8 to 10 square feet outdoors. Owning hens also means you'll have fresh eggs. Starting from when they're 18 to 22 weeks old, an adult hen lays about 2 eggs every 3 days. But you should have far more than that because we don't recommend keeping only one hen. Like alpacas and rabbits, for instance, chickens are extremely social, and owning at least a pair is ideal. In fact, solitary chickens have been known to hurt themselves by picking at their own feathers to relieve their boredom. So please, do not keep only one hen, it's inhumane. With at least a pair of hens, you'll also enjoy a garden free of pests and food wastage. Hens are infamous for digging up fresh seeds, which can be annoying, but they also dig up stems and stalks of weeds as well as overripe or damaged vegetables. Kale, chard, broccoli stem, and carrot leftovers are their favorite, in addition to worms and insects. If you're thinking about starting a compost heap, or even if you already have one, chicken manure is perhaps the proverbial secret sauce you've been missing. Though a pile of chicken manure isn't pleasant to handle, it's an excellent source of nitrogen for your plants. Still, the biggest pro is that hens are fun pets with distinctive personalities. In fact, many hen owners compare their pet hens to dogs and cats, except even sassier. And before we move on to the potential downsides of owning hens, just remember that as with most animals, there will be a literal pecking order. Hens have a hierarchy, and the top hen is known as the top chook, who is usually, and not surprisingly, either the oldest or most aggressive of the group. Now, getting to the downsides, as mentioned, you need a backyard or garden to free roam and keep your hens happy. While hens are more than happy to uproot and eat pests and vegetable scraps, egg-laying hens should be fed high calcium and protein-rich feed, most of which is from soybeans, canola, or sunflower meal byproduct. It should go without saying that hens need access to fresh and clean water at all times. Many people first consider raising pet hens because they pay their keep in egg production as long as they have exposure to 12 to 14 hours of daylight. But keep in mind that hens' egg production slows after they hit around 6 or 7 years old. But the average healthy hen can live between 8 to 10 years of age. Are you ready to continue taking care of hens past their stage of usefulness to you? Are you also ready to take care of hens that can get pecked or cut by other, more aggressive hens? Hens can get staph infections in their feet, which can result in them not wanting to put weight on the injured foot, as well as getting a number of parasitic infections if their coop is not kept clean. Both problems can be addressed by you with antiseptic wound wash for the former, and for the latter, spraying insecticides inside the coop and keeping it clean. While these issues can be relatively easier to treat, viral diseases like avian flu and fowl pox must be treated with vaccines. If left untreated, they can decimate the entire flock. Finally, there's one issue that all pet owners are familiar with, but it's taken to a new level with your pet hen. How easily will you find a pet sitter who's trustworthy and diligent? Dog and cat sitters are a dime a dozen on apps like Rover and Pawshake, but finding a hen sitter might take a little more time and patience. So before you get a flock of hens, think carefully about the level of commitment it will require. Hens are smart, quirky, and can be a great addition to your backyard urban farm, but can also be considered exotic pets. So as with all pets we welcome into our families, look before you leap.